Greetings, fellow Slayers. Well, our look at Buffy Season 6 comes to an end as we take a look at Grave. At the Magic Box, Will tries to recover from Giles' attacks, but she's not interested in his attempts to help. He tries to keep her down, but she is persistent, attempting to evoke Asmodia, so he's forced to bind her physically and magically with his powers. Buffy and Donnie hug Giles, who then offers sympathies to Will and then catches up with Buffy. Giles reveals that he was given power from a coven of powerful witches in England to stop Willow. Buffy must say Willow was abusing magic before, and she barely even noticed. Jen tells Giles how everything has gone downhill since he left, including her taking a fast food job, Sandra jilting Anya, who returned to be a vengeance demon, Dawn shoplifting, and her sleeping with Spike. Giles' reaction to the last one is the last one she expected, because of the absurdity of so much bad luck. Buffy's shocked at first, but ends up descending into laughter, too. Meanwhile, Will communicates with Anya telepathically and puts her under the thrall before telling her how to remove the binding spell. Buffy and Giles continue laugh about the luck of their lives, then talk about Buffy's feelings about being alive in the world. Having heard everything that went wrong in his absence, Giles apologizes for leaving them in the first place, but Buffy insists that he was right and it was time she started acting like an adult. She admits that when he left, she still felt like she left an important part of herself in her grave and still doesn't know why she's back when it was apparently her time to die. Giles doesn't have a simple answer, so they return discussing Willow, and Giles explains how the Coven is trying to extract Willow's powers without killing her. Willow appears in the doorway, holding an unconscious Anya, and reveals that she is free of the binding spell. Giles once again attempts to bind Willow, but she casts a counter spell. But Willow magically throws Buffy aside and sends weapons flying at Giles. He blocks him, though, and, with the hammer of Gavanon, sends her flying through a brick wall into the main room. Meanwhile, Xander and Dawn walk down the road with Jonathan and Andrew, talking about what to do next. Xander again rambles on that he believes how useless he is, that he's really a coward because he did nothing when Warren shot Buffy and Tara, and did nothing at the magic box to stop Willow. When Smug Dawn mentions that Spike would help out and not be afraid, Xander lets it slip that Spike tried to rape Buffy. Dawn does not easily accept that. In the cave in Africa, Spike wins another round and asks for whatever else the demon can dish out. He gives him his body instead of covered in beetles, which begin to burrow under his skin, making him scream in pain. In the magic box, which has almost been completely destroyed from the magical battle, Will is confident in her strength, and in weakened Giles tries to once attempt to hurt Will by bringing up Tara and what her thoughts on the situation might be. Will responds with molten magic, but Buffy saves Giles from the blast, which destroys the store's upper level. Will knows that Buffy only thinks she's saving Andrew and Jonathan, but she can destroy them any time she wants. To prove this, Willow creates a fireball that she sends off after them, which also kills Xander and Dawn, making clear that she's doing it to get Buffy out of the store. Despite the obvious lure, Buffy rushes off and tries to stop the fireball, leaving Giles to face Willow alone. After them, which will also kill Xander and Dawn, making clear that she's doing it to get Buffy out of the store. Despite the obvious lure, Buffy rushes off to try and stop the fireball, leaving Giles to face Willow alone. Willow lectures Giles when she slams his body repeatedly against the ceiling and the floor. He interrupts her with some magic, but she doesn't let that stop her. She knocks parts from Giles' body and revels in the overflow in her body. The magic shook for him, though, is accompanied through an emotional burst that makes her feel so much that she decides there's too much pain in the world and she must end it all. Xander, Jonathan, and Andrew try to break into cribs at the cemetery looking for a hiding place, but they're interrupted as well as fireball hits for them. Buffy races through the cemetery and tries to get everyone out of the way before they're hurt. After the fireball hits, Xander's knocked out. The ground shakes and opens up, and Buffy and Dawn fall into a large hole. Andrew and Jonathan take the opportunity to escape and head for Mexico. At the magic box, Anya finally comes to and finds a weak and dying Giles on the ground. He can feel Willow's presence and knows that she's going to end the world. Buffy tries to climb out of the hole but struggles and tries to pull coffins out of surrounding dirt walls to stack and try to escape on. After Xander comes to, Buffy sends him to find some rope to help get them out. Dawn pushes away Buffy didn't tell her about what Spike did and tells her sister that she can't protect her from the world. Anya appears in the hole and updates Buffy on the situation with Willow. On Kingman's Bluff, Willow raises the spire of a satanic temple out of the ground to help her with her plans. Anya explains how Willow's going to end the world by using her powerful newfound magic to drain Earth's life energy through the effigy of, of, Pro, of Prosper Pexa, and that nothing magical or supernatural, including Buffy, can stop her. It's just that Giles is short on time and leaves to return to him. Xander, standing at the top of the hole, overhears this and runs off. Willow senses Buffy's desire to stop her plans and talks to Buffy telepathically. Giles can also hear her as she speaks. Willow wants Buffy to die fighting and creates creature-like earth elements for her to battle. Buffy tries to fight the elements as best she can, and, outnumbered, Buffy asks Dawn to help. Willow begins her magical ritual on the cliff, and the earth starts to shake over town and ground begins to blacken. Willow is feeding power into the temple when Xander arrives. Finally breaking through his spiral of self-pity, Xander jumps to the way, disrupting the flow of life energy. He tries to restore humanity through their friendship, but gets tossed around and magically injured. Giles stares and realizes that there is still hope. After one of the elements attacks her, Dawn kills one, which regrets to watching her sister in action. On the cliff, the wounded Xander talks to Willow and feels her emotions by reminding her of her past. He reminds her of a time with her childhood when she broke Yellow Crayon and cried, worried about anybody finding out it was her, and tells her that he loves her and is stuck by her side no matter what she does because of how much her years of friendship mean to him. She just imagines she feels like him every time he tells her he loves her, and she finally gets through to her and her powers drain away. Willow tearfully breaks out of Xander's arms as the dark magic finally drains from her. The blood veins on her disappear, and she returns to her usual red-haired appearance. No longer on the edge of death, Joss wakes up and tells Anya that the magic he received was intended for Willow to steal it. It tapped her remaining emotions and gave Xander the chance to reach her humanity. Anya is shocked to find that Xander saved the world. Back in the crypt, the earth creatures disappear, and Buffy starts to cry happy tears. Dawn questions whether and says she really wanted the world to end. Buffy assures her that she didn't, and promises things are going to get better. She no longer has any regrets or resentment about being resurrected and feels ready to live, wanting to be there for Dawn and see the powerful woman she'll become. For the second time in a year, Buffy emerges from her grave, but this time she feels truly alive. She helps Dawn climb out of the hole, and the sisters check out the horizon, while Xander continues to comfort Willow. Jonathan and Andrew hitch a ride toward Mexico, and Anya helps Giles to his feet and out of the wreckage of the magic box. In Africa, a severely bruised and bloodied Spike lies on the ground of the cave as the demon approaches him and announces that Spike has successfully endured all the required trials to grant his request. Spike rises to his knees again and asks the demon to give him what he wants, so he can give Buffy what she deserves. The demon places his claw down Spike's chest and returns the vampire's soul. Whoa. So anyway, let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. For the ending of the episode Entropy, all events until the season finale occur within 3 nights, including when it ends with the dawn at the end of this episode. Willow says Giles for calling her a rank arrogant amateur during their argument in the episode Flooded. Buffy tells Giles about various events he's missed, such as Xander leaving Anya at the altar, Dawn's kleptomania, Buffy working at the Double Meat Palace, her sexual relationship with Spike, and when she was poisoned by the Clark Ghoul Kashmas-Nick. Giles apologizes to Buffy for leaving the Scoobies in Tabula Rasa. Willow refers to Andrew as the other one. This is part of the running joke of the Scooby Gang being unable to call Andrew's name. Also present in Gone, Never Leave Me, Two to Go, Turbulence, and Own It Part 5, It's On You. The magic box is destroyed in this episode. The next headquarters for the Scooby Gang will be Buffy's home. The lady's grave is visible in front of Alpard Mausoleum. Dawn will fight the recently risen vampire in Lessons. Kingman's Bluff, Real Trace Vogue Prosprixa, is the very same area where Angel attempted to commit suicide in Amends. In the previous episode, Buffy's estimated strategy for dealing with Willow will be to talk to her, which Xander dismisses. That's pretty much what he does to convince her to stop. Buffy ends the season crying out of the grave again, replacing the dramatic event in the season debut Bargaining Part 2. Dawn proves herself to be a capable fighter, and Buffy agrees to stop being overprotective of her. She's overseen training her sister to fight vampires in lessons. Willow leaves her corrupt self and goes to England with Giles for a magic rehabilitation to control this. Although she only reconciled with her darkness as part of her her in Wonderland Part 5. Spike receives a soul, an event that significantly impacts the Buffyverse. He's the second known vampire to be ensouled, after Angelus in becoming Part 1, then Part 2. Spike will temporarily lose it in give and take. Before he returns to Sunnydale, Spike visits the town of Greenville in the graphic novel Spike Into the Light. Spike will be reunited with Buffy in lessons, but she'll only learn about his soul in Beneath You. So let's take a look at some production notes from this episode. This is the only Buffy season finale not written and directed by Joss Whedon. David Fury mentions that he had intended for Willow to stand and pace while she talks about the effects of sucking Giles' magic, but Alison Hannigan wanted to sit during the speech. She wanted to convey that draining the magic weakened her at first, but then made her stronger. Dr. James A. Conter says that while filming the scenes with Willow and Xander on the cliff, the wind turned up dust, which blew into Alison Hannigan's eyes. Because of the dust, Hannigan removed her black contacts, and her eyes were blackened digitally in post-production. One of the original ideas for the finale was for Buffy to fight the dragon we glimpsed at the end of The Gift. However, CGI dragons are expensive and, once more with feeling, have taken up a great deal of the season's budget. This is only one of 2 episodes in the series where Sarah's real-life tattoos is visible. In a scene when Giles and Buffy are laughing in the training room, and later when Buffy is crawling out of the grave with Dawn. The episode, it appears, is Lessons. Let's take a look at a deleted scene. This line was cut due to length where Giles talks about the true essence of magic, which comes in most purity from the earth itself. And let's take a look at some pop culture references. As the camera pans across the destroyed magic box and comes first to Willow's boots, one of the books on the floor is a novel by William Shatner. Willow makes a reference to The Wizard of Oz with the film Fly, My Pretty, Fly! And now finally, let's take a look at some goofs. When Xander, Dawn, Jonathan, and Andrew are hiding out the cemetery and trying to enter crypts, Xander visibly shakes a small, supposedly salsa crypt, trying to kick open its small door, making it obvious that it's a set piece. When Will sends a ball of fire to where Andrew and Jonathan are, it shakes the ground, causing everyone to tumble. Although when Dawn falls, her hair appears to be matte and messy, but within a millisecond, it appears to be perfect. It's half up, half down, showing that it was 2 very different takes. As well as raising the satanic spire on the bluff, 2 separate wires to the rear of the spire can be clearly seen with the red ends, when the camera is behind the spire facing Willow. When Andrew and Jonathan are in the truck, the landscape out their window is not moving. During the shot where Xander almost falls into the hole, someone else is visible holding him by the belt. Also, when they show Xander, camera facing upwards out of the hole, the boom mic is visible to the left side of the screen. When Willow shoots Xander back into the effigy, the statue briefly moves as Xander hits it right before the camera cuts. When Buffy and Dawn climb out from below the ground, Silver Geller's tattoo on her lower back is visible. So overall, I think this is a pretty interesting finale to season 6, and yeah, I can't believe it took Xander talking to Dark Will to finally get her back to her old self again. So yeah. So overall, I give Grave 5 Vampire Steaks out of 5. Thank you all so much for joining me on Buffyverse June 2026. I hope you enjoyed this look at Buffy Season 6. And next year, we're going to be taking a look at the 7th and final season of Buffy, which will begin with the episode Lessons. So thank you all so much for that. And don't forget, next month is going to be Supernatural Summer 2026, and which will be looking at Season 6 of Supernatural. So, be on the lookout for that. So, until next year, here endeth the lesson.